Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today you join me on the roof and we're going to be doing our Caravan Sunday tinkering winter and autumn video. And we're going to start by showing you a few things to look for on the roof if you're putting your caravan away this season. So let's take a look now. So the first thing we're going to check is the actual skylights themselves. Now what I like to do is make sure it's all nice and clean around there and that the sealant is still quite squishy. Because if it goes rock hard, it'll be brittle and it'll fall off and it'll cause a leak in between this section and the roof, which you don't want. So make sure it's all nice and clean because that doesn't help neither, and the sealant's okay. The next thing we're going to look at is the cant rail itself. Now this is a plastic section that runs the whole length of the roof of the caravan, and what it is, it's a cap. And it covers the roof join with the wall join, and it is bonded in. Now the sealant on the outside is also very critical, so check that to make sure that it's doing its job and you've no gaps in it. If you've any gaps, get it sorted as soon as you possibly can. So the next thing I like to do is take a look at the actual seam sealant that separates the front panel and the roof, and likewise with the rear panel. Now if you've got a Swift, this will be a thin strip about so wide, and it will probably peel off after a couple of years because it's very thin and it's very cheap. Replace it with some of this RV tape. I've had this on for years now and it's never let me down, and it's nice and wide as well, so it covers it up quite well. So make sure that's in all nice and secure. Now if you've got a different make and model, you might have an aluminium strip running down the centre here which is bonded in, and then they put screws in intermittently. Make sure that that's okay as well. Final thing, where the panel is actually meeting the roof, make sure that there's no cracks in this, because if there is, you need to get them repaired as soon as possible, because otherwise you'll get water ingress. Now this next thing is the TV aerial. Make sure that the antenna housing is nice and secure and that the rubber seal has not perished. If it has, then replace it. You can do this yourself. It's quite a quick and simple job. But make sure that's all nice and neat and in order, and it's nice and clean as well, like so. So the next thing I like to check is the actual solar panel, if you have one. Now for me, I like to check that all these screws are nice and secure and it's holding the frame of the solar panel in place, and also the brackets themselves are bonded to the roof and there's no issues with those, and they need to be checked. Now these are plastic, but I understand the earlier ones were metal and they do rot away, so make sure that you check them if you've got an older van. So moving on to the top of the solar panel, keep this nice and clean in winter best you can, and also check that there's no cracks in it. The cleaner it is, the more efficient it'll be for you, especially in winter. So the final thing for the solar panel is the connections. I like to check this cowling, make sure it's not been damaged, and also that the bonding is nice and secure and it's not going off or going brittle. This is quite flexible still. Next thing is the connections where the cables come through. Now there's a rubber grommet here where my finger is, and that will tighten up and seal tighter the more you turn this. So check that these nuts here are nice and tight. So I'm just quickly looking around the storage yard. I was trying to find an Eldis actually, and I can only find that one over there, and that's a modern one. But what I'm trying to look for is one with a dome. A lot of the Eldis vans have a plastic dome on the roof, and these over time become very brittle and they can just basically blow away with the wind because they're that brittle. Or if you're touching it when you're cleaning it, it can shatter on you and then you need to repair it and fix it. And it can be a bit of a difficult job to try and do for yourself. So maybe a main dealer for that one, but check them as well. So also when we're checking the roof, we're also going to check round this actual sunroof. Now this has been a bit of a contentious issue, but what I like to do is make sure that that white guttering area surrounding it is all nice and clean and it's free from any damage. Now another area on the outside is this rubber seal. Make sure that it's not come off, because they do pop off now and again, and make sure that it's in good condition and it's not cracked or split. If it is, then you probably want to look about replacing it, because otherwise you're going to get water ingress inside here. So another one of the areas to check before you put it away for winter is your outside lockers. What I like to do is open them up, check that this rubber seal is supple and it's going to form a good watertight seal against the frame, and also the actual silicone that seals it in around the edges. Make sure that's not dried out and it's cracked or split. If it is, consider repairing it by removing the excess here and then resealing it. Now if, like me, you're not going to be using a cover over the winter period, one suggestion I can offer you as well is fridge vent covers. You can purchase these from your Caravan dealer or online. I'd recommend probably online because they can be a little bit cheaper. You save yourself a few quid. But it will stop insects and the bad weather getting inside and making a mess behind the fridge. Now with your tyres, if you're not going to be using tyre protectors on the floor when you're storing it for a long period of time, what I'd highly recommend is you put an extra couple of PSI in the tyres above what it recommends and monitor that over the winter. It'll prevent flat spots. Now with that in mind, when you come to use it, make sure that you set the PSI correct to the towing capacity of the Caravan. It's usually listed on the side of the Caravan on the chassis VIN plate. Least is all these actual covers for your water inlet, and if you've got gas and an electrical point, make sure that these are secure and they're not going to flap around, because if the wind gets underneath them it can snap them off, because they do get brittle after a while. So make sure that they're all in tip-top condition as well. One of the final things I like to look at on the outside are the lights themselves. Make sure the light cluster's not cracked or broken and the rubber seal has not dried out, because otherwise you could get water ingress in here. So I like to check them, make sure they're okay, and we're good to go for the winter. Well folks, that's the end of part 1 of this tinkering video. Part 2 will be coming out and we'll be dealing with some interior things that you can check on your Caravan and do to make sure that you winterize it properly. Now there are a full videos on winterizing and various other aspects in relation to the Caravan that you can do to maintain it throughout the storage period, and I'll leave links in the description below to those videos that may help. Thanks very much for watching. I do hope you'll join us again real soon, but in the meantime, bye for now.